Hey, my name is Dawson and welcome to my YouTube channel. Normally I share updates from my 1970s renovation, currently actually working on my kitchen remodel, and I've been working on that for the last couple months. I've been renovating that entire thing, taking it all the way down to the studs and building it back. So if you like home renovation content and do-it-yourself projects, you're in the right place, and make sure you subscribe because I post tons of updates from my house and fun little projects like I'm gonna share today. One of my weird quirky favorite hobbies to do is make specifically abstract furniture. I don't know why, I just think it is so fun and so cool, especially doing coffee tables, because I think that since they're so small and they're not like a huge piece of furniture, you can go a little bit more bold with them. So today I want to show you a coffee table project that I did a couple years ago, and I had this really weird idea in my head of abstract curves coming together to create a table. And so I kind of went for it, not a lot of planning, and here is how it turned out and some of the lessons that I learned along the way, because it also ended up being one of my biggest furniture fails. So when I do a project like this, I like to start off by just sketching out my ideas on paper. I had a lot of ideas for this, so I just kind of went crazy, got everything out of my brain that I could, and then once I picked a couple that I thought were the strongest, I actually went ahead and made a prototype out of cardboard. Cardboard is such an easy, well, first of all, thing to get your hands on because there's just so many boxes everywhere. And number two, it's actually very easy to cut just with a pair of scissors or maybe like a utility knife. So I cut out my shapes with that, and then I just used hot glue to attach them together and make my little prototypes. And one day I would actually love to learn how to do 3D modeling and maybe 3D printing just to kind of, make my prototypes more to scale and more accurate. But if you don't have a 3D background or 3D printer like me, cardboard is really your friend, and it's such an easy arts and craft way to get it done. So what I ended up doing was I posted these 3 designs that I ended up with onto my Instagram, and my followers over there voted on the design that they thought would be the best. So I ended up picking this one from their suggestion, which was like a double upside down U that inverted from each other, and this was my favorite one, so I'm glad they picked it too. Then what I did next was I ran over to the store and I ended up just buying the tabletop pre-made, because Lowe's specifically sells different sizes of these pine wood tops, and so that's really sped things up because cutting a big circle like that's kind of hard. I think the one that I bought was either 36 inches or 48 inches wide. My plan for the legs was to use plywood and glue it together 2 layers so that it would be a thicker leg. I made some mistakes. I first started by cutting out the plywood to my general size of the legs, and I used a circular saw to cut that down first because the plywood's just really big to hold on your own. And then once I had it to a smaller size, I used my table saw to get it to the exact size that I needed. Once I had my legs roughly cut out, I actually took a 5-gallon bucket and I put it onto the corner of the plywood, and then I just traced that shape out with a Sharpie. And once I had that shape drawn on all of them, I used my handheld jigsaw to cut it out. Some tips: get a jigsaw blade with a lot of teeth, because the higher the tooth count, the finer the cut will be, so you'll get less tear out and just your edges will look better. And then number 2, don't be afraid to go slow, because when you're cutting something by hand, you want to take your time so you don't accidentally get off track. And so going slow is what usually helps me. I ended up cutting all of the outside corners off of my pieces of legs first. That was my big mistake, because I'm not a machine, so my cuts are a little bit different on each leg. They're pretty good, but not exactly the same. So then when I went to glue my pieces of plywood together for the legs, it was really hard to match up the corners and ended up having to do a lot of sanding. So what I decided to do for the inside corner, which is what I wish I had done from the start, was just glue all of my pieces of plywood together for the thick legs, wait for it to dry, and then cut out my shapes, because if you do that, then the shapes will be exactly the same on both pieces of plywood because they're glued together. So I learned from that, and then I switched it up for the inside. So I waited until those boards were dried, and then I used a 1-gallon bucket, traced out the shape that I wanted for the legs there. And then once that all dried, I was able to cut out the shapes with my jigsaw, and those cuts turned out a lot better than the other ones. Once I got all the corners and the edges sanded on my plywood, I decided to cover up the raw edges with something called edge banding. And if you're not familiar with it, it's basically a really, really thin piece of wood, and then on the back side of it is glue. And once you heat it up, you usually use an iron, the glue activates and will stick to the plywood or whatever you're putting it onto. I've done this a lot with straight pieces of wood and it usually works perfectly. But for some reason, because I was trying to put it on curved pieces of wood, it just wasn't working. Did not work. Well, it worked on the straight pieces and some of the outside corners, but the inside corners, especially because the curve was so dramatic, I think it had a hard time sticking. And that could also be because I had a hard time getting my iron in there. So unfortunately, there were a lot of gaps in between the edge banding and the leg that I ended up deciding to fill in with Bondo. Now, if you're not familiar with Bondo, it's very, very strong. So I'm not worried about it not being like sturdy or anything like that, but my initial plan was to stain the legs, and you can't stain Bondo. You can only paint it. It doesn't look good when you stain it. So I had to switch gears a little bit, and I ended up just painting the legs with black spray paint. Honestly, nothing a can of black spray paint can't fix usually. So if I was gonna do the edge banding again, I would try maybe steaming the edge banding so it would be like even more flexible. I think that would help it get into the corner a little bit better. But if you have any suggestions, drop it in the comments so we can all kind of learn from your expertise. Once I got those legs painted, I decided to stain my tabletop black. I chose to stain it instead of paint it so that you can still kind of see some of the wood grain through there and it still matches the legs being black, but I just didn't want to paint it because I feel like you kind of lose some of that charm. So once I got everything stained and painted, I connected the legs to the tabletop just using some small metal brackets. And this is also one of where my biggest fail came through. I don't know if it's just because my design was flawed or maybe I used the wrong type of brackets, but the table was pretty wobbly and I couldn't figure out how to fix it with my current design. So some of my thoughts were maybe if I used a thicker or like a stronger bracket, that would have helped it be more sturdy. Or maybe if I made some type of bar that went across the middle of it to connect the legs, that would also kind of help it stay stronger. Either way, let me know what you think in the comments on like how to make that wobble better. But I do really like the way that this turned out. I think the design with the double inverted U just looks so cool because you can see all the way through the table and it just makes it feel really open and light and honestly kind of cool, like an abstract, more modern shape. But because it was so wobbly, I didn't end up keeping it and I had to get rid of it. One day I will try this again and I will figure out what I did wrong, hopefully with your help in the comments, and then I will do it round 2 and I think it'll be better. So if you like do-it-yourself projects, furniture flips, and this kind of thing, make sure to like this video and subscribe. I have this crazy goal to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I know it sounds wild because I only have 26,000 right now, but I believe I can do it and I need your help. And if you haven't yet, go check out some of my videos from that 70s renovation, which is what I call my 70s fixer-upper. I've been working currently on my kitchen and have a lot of good videos on that series so far. So go check that out and I will hopefully see you for the next one. Thanks for watching.